Hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning into another Geomni broadcast. And if you're like me, you've probably been watching Hurricane Michael for the past couple of days, and at least for the panhandle of Florida, it looks like the worst thing possible has come to fruition, and a Category 4 has slammed into, looks like Panama City and some of the surrounding areas. So I know if you're an adjuster, you're probably right now loading up your truck, you're getting ready to go. Let's see, I think we've got the a little bit of the graphic here. It's a monster storm, and everybody at Geomni, our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who's got property or is in the path of this storm. We hope that good plans were made and that people were able to get out of the way. And we know the storm is still churning right now, but that doesn't mean that us and our partners don't have plans underway to respond to the storm and start efforts to help those recover. That's what we've done in this business for hundreds of years, or 100 years at least, as an insurance industry as a whole. And Geomni may be relatively new to that, but obviously we want to be able to serve our partners and you as an adjuster when it comes to this event and this storm. So we're going to get into a few tools today, and we're going to answer a few questions from our last broadcast that came in either through support or through our Facebook channel. So we're going to make sure that hopefully we have all the questions addressed. We're also going to be watching the live stream over here as well. So any questions that come in during the stream, we're going to address them as well. So to get started, we want to talk about something really specific to our Verisk partners as a whole. You may have seen the press release not too long ago where Verisk announced that through Geomni, you're going to have access to post-catastrophe imagery. This comes really in two forms, and we want to talk about those two forms today, and we're just going to talk about them briefly. So let me go ahead and pull up some of our imagery here. And as you may be able to see, we're actually looking at both pre- and post-loss imagery. And this is one of the things that we do a lot of here at Geomni. And we're actually staging and preparing to do this with Hurricane Michael by moving our airplanes near the region of the storm. Obviously, we don't want to put them in the storm. But as soon as the weather clears, we're going to be up and we're going to be flying. We had a lot of questions about what that entitles. I just want to give you a brief run through of what that actually looks like. For the most part, we have to wait for the weather to clear, the clouds have to move out, and then we're actually going to come in and bring our airplanes in and start capturing imagery so you can see the before and after of the event. And you see that here on the screen. This is some wind damage actually caused by an event earlier this year. And on the left-hand side, you can see our pre-loss imagery, and on the right-hand side, you can see some post-loss imagery. That being said, that post-loss imagery, we have to wait for weather to clear out before that imagery becomes available. So if you're a Verisk partner, reach out to your account representative or your account executive. They'll have information on how you can access the pre- and post-loss imagery just by being a Verisk partner. Now that's part one. The second part is actually regarding the Geomni reports. So one of the requests that we have is that we put both pre- and post-loss imagery in the Geomni report, and there were some questions there about how that happened, so I want to clear that up. When we generate a Geomni report, if that report is generated prior to the capture of post-loss imagery, it will only contain pre-loss imagery. Once the post-loss imagery has occurred, the capture of that post-loss imagery has occurred, we will then capture both sets of imagery and include it in Xactimate and include it in the data package. So you're going to get both sets of imagery. You're not necessarily just going to be exclusive with one or the other. Now, if you need to make a request prior to the storm, meaning you can't wait for the post-loss imagery and you want to use our pre-existing or our baseline data to build your data packages, your roof, walls, measurements for the windows and doors and everything, you can go ahead and request that now, and once the post-loss imagery has been obtained, you can re-request that report at no charge, and it will include both sets of imagery, both the pre- and the post-loss imagery, like you see on screen here. So those were some of the things that we wanted to clear up. Now again, one of the things that we're going to get into today is going to be a conversation about image to scope. We want to go through that again and just see if we have any questions coming through the live chat so we can make sure we address that again. And again, at the end of the broadcast, we're also going to be telling you, as an adjuster, how you can get a free Geomni property data package. So that's the measurements for the windows, walls, and doors. And let's just, we'll just switch in here and we'll look at one of these just really quickly. This pretty complicated house that we're currently showing in Xactimate. regardless of the complexity, if you watch this video and you follow the instructions at the end of the video, we're going to get you set up with a free data package on any one of your properties. We hope you'll use it to help somebody during Hurricane Michael, but it's up to you. We don't mind if you're using it really anywhere. So we're going to jump right into Xactimate. We're going to go to a different property, and what we want to do is we want to basically just use the image to scope tools like we've done in the past. So I'm going to pull up a file here, and I'm going to import the data exactly like I would in the past. And again, you can see here that we have a basic Geomni property report, and let's just move that around, and you can see that that's not only the roof, but that is the windows, the walls, and the doors, so everything. And this report actually has a little bit of damage on it, and we actually flew it with a drone. So we're going to take it a step further, and we're going to show you what it looks like to use drone imagery as part of the image to scope platform in Xactimate. And then we're going to go a step further, and we're actually going to use this property model to do a little bit of exterior work with the property. We don't just want to necessarily work exclusively with the roof. We want to move that to also doing some work with the exterior of the property. But let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to actually start this project over here in the Image tab. And as you can see, I've got multiple faces of imagery on the left-hand side. I'm just going to collapse that. And we've got various different pieces of imagery that we could work through. And what I really want to do is just choose the best image to start estimating on one of the slopes. So I'm on slope 3 here, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pull down this image right here. As you can see, we've got a high resolution image. Now again, this was taken with a drone, and we've got other images that we can switch between as well if we want to use them for our analysis, and just depending on how you flew the drone, that's going to give you various imagery to work with. So we're just going to pick a good picture here. I'm going to take this one, and I'm now going to come in and I'm going to start using some of the tools that are available to me. If I had some hail, I could throw a few hail markers on the roof. If I had just single slots of wind, which we do here, I could throw a few wind markers on the roof. One of the things you're probably going to encounter with Hurricane Michael is a significant amount of large areas of roofs that have been blown off. So for that, we actually have a tool that we call the Wind Area Marker tool. I'm going to grab this, and as you can see here, I can mark out entire areas of the roof, mark them up for replacement or repair, and we can actually set thresholds using these new tools that will allow us to essentially say, well, if so much of the roof is damaged, we're no longer going to be doing repair operations. It no longer economically makes sense. We're actually going to go ahead and do a full replacement on them. So what's happening here, as you can see, we move through the various tools. We've actually changed the action on this slope to go from a replacement or a repair to a full replacement. And we can extrapolate that like we did in our last stream all the way across the roof. So we want to take this now, and we want to move on everything that's going on the property, and we just want to fill in some of the blanks with the information, and we're going to do that. And as you can see here, automatically detected 3 tab. We're going to say it's 25 year. That's one thing we can't detect from imagery. And we're going to continue to move through this list of items, addressing all of the red questions until we have everything answered or the estimate set up in the way that we want. Now, one of the questions that we got last week, or the last stream I should say, is what happens, or why am I not seeing my image to scope items in my estimate? And a lot of people went in and filled in all of their questions, but they actually didn't take the last step, which is simply to click the green Add Items button at the bottom of the page. So once we have all of this information in, we're going to click Add Items. It's going to tell you how many items it's generated. In this case, we're doing a very simple roof replacement, so there's only 8 items. And then we can come over here, and we can actually see those items visualized first on our model, which we've annotated. So we'll just move through that. There's our pipe jacks, our exhaust caps, our ridge cap. This is a pretty non-complicated roof replacement. But because we hit Add Items, when we actually get back into the Estimate Items section, we can actually see now that under our Roof 2, all of our items have imported. And I'm just going to slide that over so you can see that the total dollar amount has copied over. So that's one of the problems that some people were reporting. Just new tools, it's going to be like that, so we just wanted to walk you through that. So the next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to show you how we can use these tools now that we're working in 3D to take it a step beyond and actually work with some of the exterior property measurements. So One of the things we're working on at Geomni is the image to scope for the exteriors. That means the windows, the walls, and the doors. Unfortunately, that's not ready yet. We're hoping to have that released somewhere in the time frame of Q1 of next year, so that all of the features that you're getting on the automation of the roof estimate, you're actually going to be able to get for the exterior, the sidings, the windows, walls, etc. But today that's not available, so we're actually just going to use some of our tools that we currently have available, which is the 3D model itself, to go ahead and estimate out some of these items. So this is pretty typical in this case if you've ever done any sort of graphic estimation. We can determine what the siding is by pulling it from Xactimate's line item base. So let's do vinyl, let's do siding, and once we've loaded our cursor, we can simply move through the various pieces of the exterior that need to be annotated or estimated, and those parts of the structure will now receive the estimatic benefit of those items. So you can see we've added the areas up, and right now if we switch over to our estimate items, we can now see that these exterior items are all grouped together. Now I know as an adjuster you're probably thinking, well, that's great, but I need to group these by their locations. So you can simply create a new folder. So if we want to come in to our exterior, and ideally what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to go through the various sections of the roof or the property model and actually label place by place and then copy them into their individual folders. That way you don't have to worry about a mass grouping with all of the data there. So that's going to be how you can estimate exterior elevations using traditional methods with the Geomni property data package. We want to go a step beyond that and combine them both together. You can see that we've actually already got our property elevation data, and so as we come through and we hit the various parts of the structure with that, we can continually add all of the items that we're going to need throughout the entire property. So that's nothing there is quite new. I think if you've used Xactimate, you understand how this goes. One of the things we will be doing with our image to scope exterior items is building an automatic grouping. That way, once you're done with automation on one side of the elevation of the property, those will automatically bin and group into the appropriate folders. So look forward to that in the future. We want to get in and we want to look at a few of these questions. So I'm going to just switch over to this here. One of the big questions we had was the image to scope tools are not showing up in Xactimate. So there's two reasons that may be. First of all, you may not have been using a Geomni property data package. Currently, Geomni property data packages are isolated as the only data package that receives image to scope. So if you ordered a roof report, you won't see image to scope. The second reason you may not have seen image to scope was that you weren't using a compatible version. So I want to go through those very quickly. If you're using version 27, you're going to need 28, excuse me. You're going to need small update 27, which is available on the Xactware store. If you send us a message on Facebook, we'll actually get you that free data package. That's how we're going to do that. With that free data package, we're also going to send you the link so that you can upgrade your Xactimate 28 to include the image to scope tools. Now, if you're using Xactimate Online or the new version of Xactimate Desktop, those tools will automatically be included. I know a lot of people are still using 28, so you need to go and get update 27. So hopefully we've cleared that up for you there. So the one thing that we've not shown in this video, and we're not going to, is actually some of the Geomni mobile app. I know that we worked with drone imagery, but what I would encourage you to do, if you're interested in seeing more about how we've done this, we've actually done our data package, and I'll pull that back up over here. We will refer you back to our other Facebook live stream video on the image to scope tools when we first rolled them out a few weeks ago for Hurricane Florence. If you will use that, watch that video, you'll actually see how you can use the Geomni mobile app to capture exterior photos as well as drone imagery and use that inside of Xactimate to settle your claim using imagery. So those are the big things that we wanted to hit on this week. Again, I want to walk through the process of getting your free Geomni data package because we haven't done that. If you want a free Geomni data package, that's a property, full roof measurements, windows, walls, and doors, you're going to need to download the Geomni mobile app. It's available on the App Store. And then you're going to send a Facebook message with your Xactimate ID or your XID to our Geomni Facebook page. Just do a direct message. We will take that information and then we will add and credit your account with a free Geomni property data package. At that point in time, you're going to be able to use the mobile app. If you want, you can capture some ground pictures in case you're in a really rural location. Maybe we don't have airplane imagery. I know the storm is moving through a lot of the country, so there may be locations that are sort of out and away from population centers where imagery may not be available. You can use the Geomni mobile app, capture that imagery, submit the request. It'll be completely free, and you'll receive a report just like what we see here in Xactimate. So we encourage you to do that. Go out and use the tools. We want you to be safe out there, so a lot of these tools are designed to help keep you off of the roof, and we wish you the best while you're working the storm. We will be available for taking questions, and we'll respond directly through Facebook. If you have any questions about the tools or anything that we've talked about today, feel free to get in contact with us, and we would love to be able to help you out as you guys are headed out to the storm. And make sure you're safe out there, and thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Bye.